欢迎你们来到 Wales Interactive Office. Today I am with DAI. Hi DAI.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. By the way, this might be awkward, but Hai Dai actually means that just came to my mind. Hai Dai means seaweed.
Oh, does it? Actually, yeah. So
in Chinese.
So in Welsh, so I'm going to say Hwyl Fawr, which is a big hello, a big welcome. So DAI in Welsh, my name is David Banner. So David's my first name. So DAI is sort of like a slang for David, for Dave essentially.
Okay.
It means to shine.
To shine, awesome.
Yeah, yes, but essentially in Wales, if you're called David, the slang for your name is DAI. But in the games industry, I am the only DAI. But in Wales, there are many. There's thousands of DAIs. So yeah, so I sort of kept it for my games industry name, essentially, rather than people call me David. So.
And it can be also your player name, your nickname.
Exactly.
So
yes. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, let's dive in. So for those who don't know you yet and don't know Wales Interactive, although it might be hard to for that to be a reality, could you briefly introduce your studio, the games that you've worked on, philosophy behind it, maybe some numbers as far as how many people are working with you, the games.
Right. So my name's David Banner. Actually, I'm Dr. David Banner, MBE. So I've been awarded essentially an honour by the Queen for services to the video games industry. One of the very few people in the UK to achieve that. So I've been in the games industry 31 years. So I started, I suppose, before PlayStation existed, Mega Drive. So on loop, I suppose I didn't realise I was an indie games developer because AAA was quite small back then. I'm an artist. I was a trained artist and game designer. I'd be put in a room with a programmer and they'd just tell me to make a game. So that's what I've been doing for 31 years. So Wales Interactive has been going for 13 years now. We started out as an indie developer. I co-founded it with my business partner, Richard Pring, who's essentially, he's a programmer and game designer. And then together, the artist designer, the programmer designer, in a room, making things together. So it's all I've known is to create something and then try to sell it. So the vision for the company was to make things that entertain the world and obviously as well learn to self-publish. We wanted to be the developer publisher and have control of our own destiny as such, right? So over the 13 years, that's what we've done and essentially built the team around that core value. So we've gone from 2012 releasing our first game to I think we just released it's our 26th console game. By including mobile, we've probably done around 35 titles in 13 years.
That's massive. That's a lot.
It is, but the first year we were mobile and we realised that's not where we should be because it was really hard to make money, make a business. So we decided that we would move to premium. So we then went around the world. With the money that we had, we went to the gaming events, some established, some not so established, in networking. Taking the thing that we had made, publish it on the platforms we could at the time, which was iOS and Android. But with an idea then, we wanted to get to Steam. Steam was curated then. It was trying to find people that work for Valve. Then trying to find people who worked for PlayStation, Xbox. So within literally 3 years, we could publish on Steam. Our first was Master Reboot. We didn't know it was a horror game. I suppose they would call it a walking simulator now, but it was like a science fiction horror, and it was the thing that was launched on PlayStation 3 because we managed to meet someone from PlayStation and persuade them to give us a dev kit, and then that managed to persuade somebody on Steam to let it be published on there when it was curated. And then our journey led us to meeting Xbox actually in the Tokyo Game Show in 2014. We became one of the very early indie companies for the Ideate Xbox program, so Soul Axiom. So on that journey, the team has gone from me and Rich to 15, but we are our own publisher. We've sold 15 million games. But in that time, we've become other indies publishers, and we've got into interactive film through going to shows and collaborations. So we have, some people know us for interactive films, which we have the largest collection in the world. We were second to Netflix, but they stopped doing them, so we have the largest collection. Those users out underneath tech, they tend non-linear stories, and we realised we were experts at that. But with those then, we first teamed up with, I suppose, indie filmmakers, and now we make films, I suppose, with professionals, people whose job is to make film, I suppose. So we're based in, basically in Penarth, which is just outside the capital of Cardiff, outside the capital of Wales, which is Cardiff. So in South Wales and North Wales, very strong film development. So lots of things you'd be watching on Netflix would have been filmed here, even if you didn't know it was. It doesn't mean it's Welsh, it just means that's where the cameramen are, the production companies. You know, Doctor Who you will know, but even so many different Netflix shows. I recognise parts of Cardiff when they're filming. So really, as a company, we tapped into that ecosystem as well. Yes. And then from our indie games side, a lot of people will know us for horror games. So they will know us for, so me and Rich are the creators and directors of Made a Scare and Scare Ritual franchise. So we're still games developers, even though we're business owners. So a lot of people will know us for that as well. But the reality is we've made a lot of games, a lot of different genres, and in different mediums as well. So it's not one thing. So different people's entry to us is very different. You know, I just come back from Helsinki for Slush, and in one of the events there was two younger men, that 25-year-olds from Brighton, who were games developers. And when I started talking to them, as soon as I said Wales Interactive, they said Made of Scare, you know. So and then in another talk it would be Late Shift, which is one of the so it really, so I'm always pleasantly surprised that people have heard of us.
They did,
and
China as well.
Yeah, so that's sort of a quick overview of where we got to. But yeah, it's so at the moment we haven't just survived in the games industry. We really thrived over a number of years where, you know, I suppose bigger names than us have come and gone, you know. So we found a way to make games and find an audience and continue to do that, you know. So that's where we're at.
Awesome. Talking about your audience, before coming here, I had some conversations with the influencers, with the Chinese influencers in our WeChat group. I let them know that I'm coming here to interview you, and that you'd like to explore the Chinese market more, engage with the community as well. And so I asked them what would be their maybe piece of advice or any similar Chinese within the Chinese games within the same genre, and a few interesting conversations rose from this. But before I jump into that, maybe you already have some experiences of working with, maybe co-producing some of the titles or engaging with some of the partners in China. Have you ever been to China?
So I have not. I've been as a tourist, not with work. So with my wife, we went to, this is 20 years ago now, but we went on a mini tour of China, but we were based in Beijing, but we ended up in Xi'an to go and see the Terracotta Warriors. So I've been there as a tourist, so I've experienced how, you know, so we were so excited because there was, when you go abroad, it's always exciting, but when you go to somewhere you never think you're ever going to go, and go to some really iconic places, you know, from the Great Wall of China, but even just going to Beijing was amazing. So I have a taste culturally from there, because when we went as Westerners, it was all alien, you know, where it's not so alien anymore. So I would say commercially, we've never been to China Joy, even though it's been on our list, although we have not a games event, but in Asia, we've been to the Tokyo Game Show, and that's where we first, I suppose, connected with Chinese publishers. Sure. Trying to work out, because a lot of our titles at the time were first person, and that wasn't really something that was really digested by a Western audience, but not necessarily an Asian audience. So working out what of our titles actually could fit, I suppose. Yes. But what we found with interactive movies were,
Yes.
because they tell stories,
Yes.
as long as they're well, and I don't mean just Google translated, as long as the localization is really good and they're adapted well,
Yes.
that they could do well in China. So actually Late Shift, which is sure,
Yeah.
the reason why that did so well on Steam was because of the simplified Chinese. We did traditional Chinese localization,
Yep.
and then that became a driver for it without any massive marketing. And then we discovered things like The Invisible Guardian, and recently The Road to Empress. We realized there was something happening in interactive film in China, which the Western audience weren't seeing. So through the algorithms of Steam, it was connecting our...
All right.
And the fact that we were supporting the languages and really supporting them well, not just badly, that we benefited from that. So that's when we saw that these things, even maybe culturally, is still a lot of them are Western stories, that a good story would go both ways, essentially. You know.
Absolutely. Interesting, because maybe there's opportunity to do some bundles or that sort of stuff. But you mentioned the focus on narrative and sort of Western versus Eastern perspective, and from the conversations with the community, what they have told us is that as far as China is concerned, it's mostly character focused.
Yeah.
So it's like it's character focused. It's idol even very often focused. It's about the star, and the rest plays actually to her. Whereas, would you say that it's kind of the opposite when it comes to your titles, or is there a mix? Or?
It's a mix, because so I mentioned the Made a Scare franchise, Scare Ritual. Me and Rich are the writers, creators. That comes from our lens, yeah. So actually it's got the Welsh language in Made a Scare, because we're based in Wales. So there'll be people who love the soundtrack, download it, but they don't understand a word that's being said because it is in the Welsh language, right?
Well,
so that makes
it even more
interesting. But it's authentic. Right? It comes from our lens, right?
Yes.
So when we work with the film directors, they're all from a different. We don't work with the same writer director, and then that changes. So 5 Dates is not the same writer as Late Shift. Okay. So this is written actually by a British Asian up and coming writer director. So when he was writing it, he knew he would be a lead. It would be him.
All right.
He's
so he wrote it for himself. Almost.
Yeah. So when he was cast,
okay,
a British Asian was cast, because then you're being authentic.
Yep.
You're not trying to manufacture something.
Yeah.
So to us, it's great that even supporting the language has helped our titles go to China.
Sure.
And a Chinese audience to digest. But really, the way you would do it, we would collaborate with Chinese filmmakers, developers, to make the thing that they wanted to make, and try to bring it this side. And that's the way to do it, rather than thinking that you're trying to tap into something you don't really understand. So by collaborating, being open to collaboration, we are an international company, even we're based in Wales. We've worked with American developers, Malaysian developers. Simulacra is a Malaysian company, and they do narrative but in a different way. So really, it's, as an indie company, it's been collaboration and backing people to make the thing or tell the story they want to tell, and that's authenticity then, rather than us saying it's got to be this and it's got to be that. If you collaborate outside culturally or geographically, then you're going to be tapping into something different.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's kind of been our success, I suppose.
Awesome. Coming back to the topic of how similar games within the same genre are made in China, and the movie/game, the entertainment industry in China, there was this trend of duanju, short dramas.
Yeah.
You're aware of that
yeah.
happening in China, right?
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on that, as far as the format maybe, or the people working on it?
Well, to be honest, episodic, it's always been a thing anyway, because really as an indie games developer, if you fall into the trap that you've got to work for years to then show something that you're making to find the audience, the clever way to do it is to make shorter things, and build.
Dispatch?
Yeah, and equally then it can inform me maybe not to do that. Do you know what I mean? So it's a better way of working and a faster way to find your audience and to
Makes
find
sense.
whatever success is for you.
Sure.
I mean, if you're a business, obviously, we got a creative thing going on, but we've got to make more money than we spend.
Sure.
And equally, we've got titles that maybe, you know, there won't be household names, that there's a massive world to try to tap into. So part of culturally, some things will make the transition. And then equally then, the smaller short form content is key. I think you need to be ready. I think the analogy we'd use in the Western term is like you don't always want to eat the steak. Sometimes you want a burger, you know. And do you know, it's
Yeah.
and that, so you've got to have an open mind. There's some projects we're doing which are longer timelines, but there's lots of smaller episodes where everyone's short form content, games and films happening, so that it's not all. One, as a publisher, it's got to be spread out over a certain time. Two, you've got to edge your bets, because you might think you've picked the best thing in the world, or you're making the best thing, and it might not connect. Like, so if you've only got one thing, then you're going to be in a weak position, rather than you've got two or three maybe really well executed things. So that's been, again, it's strategy really. So it makes total sense actually, that switch. But you know, I think our attention spans has shortened a lot.
Yeah.
You know, whereas you went to the cinema and a Peter Jackson film was 3 hours and a bit, we probably wouldn't have the attention span.
Yeah, there would be
too many of those
breaks throughout it,
Yeah.
or you know.
But a short video game is 4 hours. It's a short video game, but it's because you're interacting.
Yep.
And that's the difference. So that's why the films are interesting, because you're not fully passive, so you can burn more time if the content's there.
Yeah,
that's the best way to describe it. Whereas in a film, you got to take what's given to you, and you got to be a big fan, and the journey that takes you on. If it's 3 hours, it's got to be
engaging enough.
How many toilet stops are that? You know, is that in the cinema? And it's really annoying when people are getting up and down. So it's funny how our attention spans are changing, and we've become multi-device. If it's not very good, you'll be on Facebook or whatever your social while watching it. How's that? You know, you're looking at. Do you know what I mean? But it's weird how we're multi-screen people now. So the thing to really hold your attention, the thing that you want to totally focus on, has got to be really good to do that. Otherwise, everything we make is entertainment, and there'll be some things which are just for a short space of time. But we got like Skerrich's a game loop game where people, you know, still playing it. 3-4 years down the line.
Wow.
Yeah, because the game loop is the game loop. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can get better. You could get a higher. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Whereas narratively, we in our interactive movies, we plan in lots of different trophies as well as narrative things to find. So people will watch the film not once but twice, 3, 4 times. I even get their friends to watch it, to trophy hunt to find the hidden content. But equally, there's going to be a time where that's fully mined. You wouldn't go back to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you've years down the line when you think, oh, I might want to watch that again, but it's very unlikely, you know. So it's a different thing going on to the game loop games, essentially.
Let's touch upon the topic of aesthetics.
Yeah.
Especially in the context of 5 days and 10 days. I actually had a sort of even a disagreement within the team and with some of the friends, because they were like, okay, there is no chance that games with quoting Latino or Western women and actresses would attract your typical Chinese gamer. To which I was like, okay, first of all, that's a bit, you know, if not sexist, then just simplifying things. But the conversation was then moved on to how many other titles are actually riding the wave of, okay, let's hire this attractive actress, and just so that in essence saying that you should, by entering China, it's better to hire a lot of local talent, etc. To which, okay, sure, that's a good first step, but at the end of the day, it shouldn't be just the end of it, right?
No.
So
yeah, so I mean, for that, so for the films, when we because we commission the films, I suppose the best we're producers and they use our tech, right, and our money as well to finance it. So, but when we collaborate with the writer and director, sometimes it's the same person, the writer director, not always. Then they'll have a strong idea what the cast are. If they come from the film industry, they're less driven by that this gotta be. They're driven by a name, but they're not driven by what they look like.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
Whereas in games, historically, and games are not this anymore. It's not just teenage boys in the bedroom anymore, right?
Oh.
But then the idea, right, it's got to be a good-looking girl, of a certain shape, and so I think it's changed now. It's more sophisticated, right? And equally, then, if the stories are good, I mean, in 5 Dates cast, right, they're all very symmetrical, but I can tell you that wasn't strategic. It was down to limitation of. It was COVID when we made that, so we couldn't film in the entire concept came because of COVID. So out of something which was a negative came 5 Dates, because it was the 10 Dates actually in the real world. I don't know if you've played either. So 10 Dates is set online dating. Guess why? Because we couldn't meet anybody. We literally had to film it remotely. We had to when it was written, and then some of those actresses there are massive actresses. She was from Vikings. She was in Doctor Who at the time, by the way. She's gone on
the industry.
Amy Winehouse. She ended up winning BAFTA like last year, right? So a lot of these actresses that we had, we benefited from the fact everybody was locked up. They didn't really know what this was because they don't do interactive film, and what they have to lose, like they're in the house anyway. So it was opportunistic. So when you're seeing and playing that game, that is where they were living at the time. It's not sets.
Wow. It's just their apartments.
We were all locked up, yeah. Wow. So then we'd have to post them. So the lead, right? we had to post him, like, you know, when he's picking up all those different props. Like the Eiffel Tower or whatever. They were all posted to him in a. You're going to need this because in the script, and then they had to do their own makeup, right? We had to post them iPhones. I know this has been filmed on an iPhone, but it was all filmed on iPhones, set up. They have to do their own sound checked. And then Paul Rashid, the writer director, he would video call them, set it all up. None of them ever met each other. The only constant in all of those was Paul reading the lines to them and then telling them what's just happened to keep it on. That's why you need to, as a director, fellow director, your vision, you drag it through. You have to persuade people and communicate with them what's needed. Like, do you mean? So that thing about as it happened, the cast is a very good-looking cast with a lot of people that were known. But that was more to do with COVID allowed that to happen. Otherwise, maybe they wouldn't have been interested in this little indie movie. You know, I'm doing Doctor Who, I'm doing Vikings, big budgets, whatever. So when that was finished, we didn't realise we'd kind of made some, you know, everybody tries to put games into genres. This is what it is. So there was a thing that came out of that few years was cozy games. And we really had made, without it having a heading, was a cozy game. There's no massive murder, death, kill. There's real people, and you're helping Vinny try to get past the first and second, third date, but you're finding out all the people's stories behind there. And some of it is sad and whatever, but equally, there's a different thing going on there, and it's real as people. So I mean, if you like stories and characters, you're gonna connect, like, do you mean? So, and it's not really about them. It's not them being exploited then. Oh, she's really good looking, let's do this, do you mean? So it was more authentic again. The word I use, that one's nominated for BAFTAs, by the way. It's the first interactive movie in the UK to ever be nominated for, and it wasn't a high budget thing. So it just means it's a nice piece of work.
Absolutely.
And it came out of what, as indie games developers and indie filmmakers, can we do when you're not allowed to go out to the house? And we showed the game sector is all set up for not going out if you don't have to. I mean, our tools, the way we share stuff, do you know what I mean? So it was the power of that, really. But if you, going back the other way, lots of Korean There's loads of Korean at the moment. Things that are this, but what you were talking about, picking really good-looking women, and there's only women in the cast, and you're looking after these women.
Yeah.
Now that plays back to what the old games industry is, and there's always going to be that happens. But our strategy is not to break any in that way. Like, do you mean?
Yeah.
It's more collaboration, working with people who want to tell their story, and then hopefully their story is relevant to where they're from, or even it doesn't mean if it's a good story, as long as it's well translated. We all like reading stories. So what you're really doing, it's a visual novel and you're reading, right?
And it's immersive. For me personally, the experience of playing 5 days was immersive to the level that I felt awkward with my girlfriend sitting in the room next door, because I was like, this is, I feel like this is, happening IRL almost.
But so we didn't follow anything with that. We had working with somebody in film who's never made a game and wanted to tell a story. You wouldn't say in video games rom-com is a very well policed genre, would you? So in fact, it's the first. So it's like that was interesting to see. Have the platforms moved on where there are enough people who would digest this? And the answer is yes, because every platform's different. So the people. It did well on Steam. It hasn't done too badly on console, actually. Especially, PlayStation, you would have thought it wouldn't have done well at all, but it's actually done pretty decent on there. But the fact it's multi-platform, and we release them multi-platform day one, and we do release mobile games for freemium, but we're a premium company, so it's more of a marketing tool. But it just means that they're there to be found and digested on many platforms where the makeup of audiences is different for each. So it's been more that around trying to worry about this, like make the thing that could be multi-platform, that supports lots of languages, and I don't mean just really, the localization company, it's a person actually, he's a fan, and it's the localization person we use is not a company. He came from being a fan of Late Shift. So he's a Turkish dude, right, Karaibaz, and he was a massive fan of Late Shift, and he was only in English when we released it.
All right.
And it was the only language it was in, right? Because it was the only thing we could afford at that time. And then, so the game did well in the English speaking, whatever. And he contacted us as a fan saying, I've done a Turkish translation for free. Do you want to plug it in? Because I love your games.
That's awesome.
So we plugged it in, and we didn't pay him because he'd done it as a fan of someone back at that time. And our sales in Turkey went through the roof. It was actually for film in that period. Once simplified Chinese, traditional Chinese had gone in, the driver was China, Turkey, then the rest of the world. Yeah. Huh. So America got pushed way down the list. So just by doing so anyway, iBars then as a fan, we chat to him and said, look, iBars, we've been working with different localization companies. We don't really believe they care about what we're doing.
Could be the case. So
what he did was, it's his own company now. He handles all our localization.
It's a very good practice.
And he makes sure that, we'll always get some things from it, but the main thing is he's got to make sure the quality is there. And it's not just, it's an adaptation, not just a straight translation.
Yeah.
So that's why he's done that, and he's actually created a company out of it. But finding somebody, a fan who cared about our stuff was really important, because that's part of then the success of that. So that keeps on evolving as well, like so different languages or whatever. But it's an interesting thing when you talk about the body of work we have is quite diverse as well, like do you mean? So just when you think you know it all, then you don't, and it changes, do you know what I mean? So the reality is we make stuff, and we've made things that really have connected with people consistently. But equally, it's a creative process. You can't always, it's not a factory. Like,
hell no.
Sometimes you make something and it's, for whatever reason, it misses the mark or whatever, writing-wise, you know what I mean?
But it could miss, but then in other regions could
it finds its way,
Yeah.
So that's the interesting thing about getting to new platforms as well.
Out of all the games here and maybe in the background, how many have you translated into simplified Chinese?
So I would say the majority now, so when we started, we literally were just English language because that's all we could afford. And then marketing to us at that time was try to put more languages in the game.
Sure.
That's the basic form of marketing, isn't it? You know, even if you don't have no partner in that territory, people are not going to digest your game if it's not in their language, at least.
Yeah.
So then, literally all of our games now, I'm going to say, it's at least now 80% of our games, but everything, our early stuff wouldn't have been, but now everything we do covers, you know, I would say 10 key languages, and then depending on what it is, sometimes, so with Late Shift, it's not just simplified Chinese traditional. So we don't do traditional with everything, but we do simplified bare minimum, and then sometimes there's a reason if we partner up and we need to go, then it becomes, you know, the traditional Chinese. But even traditional Chinese, quite a lot of our titles have that because we were doing well in the interactive movies. Even from out, not even understanding how we were doing well, but we knew that we were again linked somewhere. Invisible Guardian at the time, you couldn't see it. I don't think it's on Western Steam, but you can see Road to Empress just released. So they were hidden as well from Western Steam. So we didn't really. And then, funny thing is, we did reach out. It's exactly the same as we always do. You know, I would badly translate one of my emails and send it off. You know, Shemai, which is hi there in Welsh, right?
Whoa.
Yeah. So I'd always use Welsh anyway, and then put in the English, but in this case, the Welsh put in the Chinese equivalent, right? So we reached out to quite a few of those companies, but it was really hard to get any response. Whereas when we go around the stands as an indie games developer, we're literally next to people. So for instance, you know, this is how far we go back now. In that scene was quite new when we started. And I don't mean the games industry, but I mean the indie scene. Yeah. So when we were on, you know, the stand in ID at Xbox, next to us was a game called Cuphead. Then you've got sort of all these games have become iconic in the indie scene. They were all around us. We were part of that. But at the time, they were unknown sort of thing. But anyway, we would go out and socialise and share contacts and wherever, you know. So the idea of why you started to use language is meeting other people from different countries and languages, and that's then when localization became really important as well, to squeeze the sponge on the thing that we'd made. Because there's things we've made. It doesn't matter how long ago we've made it, like The Bunker, which is over there. That was the first interactive film we made. I was out in Slush actually with one of the creators of that, literally last week. And that still sells well today because when we release our latest one, which is Dead Reset, which is like a real sci-fi, visceral horror.
Maybe not the best for China.
Not best for China though. But when we've released something like that, then if people are fans of that, they go and look at our back catalogue. So some, maybe they've only discovered us from that game. And some have had The Bunker and have bought every film. So we have fans, every new one shines a light on. So that means The Bunker is still really relevant today, even though we made it over 10 years ago. It's actually just done, it's a PS5 limited edition box version coming out, right? So it means that even though we move forward, we have a portfolio. And if it's narrative,
that doesn't really get old.
It doesn't get, if you like stories, do you know what I mean? It's just about finding a different way to get to that audience, I suppose. And and localization is key, and then platforms, being on the right platform is key as well. Then,
distribution, right? Especially also in China. Coming back to what you mentioned with Late Shift, working with one of people from the core fans, have you had an opportunity, or would you be open to possibly working more with some influencers or fans of your games from China? Say if they wanted to contribute in some way to what you're doing, or
100%. I mean, so we were early adopters. I mean, obviously when we started the company, YouTube was a thing, but Twitter was quite new. I know it's X now, right? And so social media. And then, but Twitch was literally when we were doing that indie scene thing, going around the world, being next to fellow indies, trying to make a living. Twitch started to become a thing. So we actually it's called Twitch, it's called, you know, streamer mode. But really it's a posh name for a pause function, because we wanted content creators, influencers. We wanted to help them, because really people are tuning to see them and they need content to broadcast.
Sure.
So in the films, what was brilliant was we could pause at those choices and they can chat with their audience. So it's a different way to watch a film, right? So we've even done live cinema events where that happens live. I mean, in the sense that the audience, the lights are on, you're encouraged to have your phone if you want, and we've done it low tech and high tech. We've done it with an app where you all vote and it changes the edit of the film live on the screen.
Depending on how many people vote.
55, half of them, just over half vote for that one. That gets highlighted and it changes the edit dynamically. And we've done it low key where people just have glow sticks and vote. And that's fun as well. But the main point is, John said I joked about our attention span and people getting up to go to the toilet or whatever, right? In these, we want you to talk. So it's like a streamer being there at the side of the cinema screen. And going, what are we going to do now? Do you know what I mean? And chatting sort of thing. So we've done that as well. But online, engaging with content creators has been key. I remember before Jacksepticeye became massive, he was the guy that streamed this. And then I don't know, at that time I think he had about 4 million views. And
that's nice.
And we didn't pay Jacksepticeye because we were in early and we were open to chatting to people and anybody who was interested in our stuff to amplify. So obviously it's been something over the last 13, 14 years of the company. We've always engaged with new up and coming streamers, Twitch streamers, even short form content now because of the TikTok. And the one thing it has to be is, are they interested in what we make? So sometimes people reach out to us, but equally when we're selling and promoting things, we look at who we think might the audience be. So so the Scare Ritual, which isn't a film, it's one me and Rich co-created and is made in-house here in the studio at the moment. That is basically the COD. One of the inspirations was COD Zombies, but there was Killing Floor, there's lots of inspirations. But essentially that community, that wave shooter community, especially the zombies part of the community, I think it was 5 streamers in the world. There's 5 human beings which talk to all of that community after doing our research. There's more, but there's 5 main
not that
ones.
Many.
So it's like, can we get to one of them? As it happens, on launch we got to 4 of them.
Whoa!
So that's why it ends up being number 2 in the charts worldwide then. Do you mean? Because as well as the execution of the game still has to be good, but the right people talked about it at the right time to the right audience. So the execution being good, they fill in a little hole, a little bit of a chasm that existed, right? Where people were frustrated with where a certain game had gone. And then these people were fans of that genre saying, look, do you know this? It's an indie version, but it's really good. Like, check it out. So that wasn't an accident. But if the thing we'd made wasn't very good, then it wouldn't have mattered to it because it would be negative press, wouldn't it?
Yes.
It would have been, oh, it's not very good, right? So the streamers we'd always engage with. I suppose in the Chinese market, we have early days, with the films, reached out, different content creators have.
But they reach out to you, or
we've actually it's a mix, but we have reached out and for a few of our films actually. But it's like, I wouldn't say they're the top streamers, but we have had Chinese streamers try to help us, and then tell us maybe this is not the right thing for this. You said horror straight away. We know that it's not the only thing we do, but we have got quite a lot of a horror following in the West, and it's and then lots of the stories, it's still story, but it may be, a scary story. It's not as safe as something like 5 Dates,
Actually, and also Choo Choo Charles, for example. A friend of mine, he's the founder of a studio that produces Zukozys. Huge fan. Every time he was telling me about his new project, he was like, oh, but Choo Choo Charles, this is...
Well, Choo Choo Charles is us with our publishing hat on, so that's Gavin, right? So 2 Star Games is Gavin, and he's a cool American dude, and he made Choo Choo Charles, which we admired from afar. And then we just got chatting, it was on email, about because we're a box publisher as well. So a lot of indies don't get a box. You can see lots of boxes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've got 26 box titles. There's more coming. But we learned to self-publish boxed as well. So I was just chatting to him, saying, have you ever thought of getting a box? So basically, for him, we helped him get physical. That's kind of what our role is. We didn't design that game.
I understand,
but as a publisher,
you worked with
so as indies, that's what we do now. It's like, so it's not every indie we'll work with. We just work with a Scottish company and publish their game in its entirety on all the platforms as well as boxed. But we always look for other opportunities to collaborate with indies, maybe and amplify something that they can't do, you know. So because he's a one-person team, and then he hires people to help him. So with that, like I said, that game, we were fans of it anyway. So it meant that when we were chatting about it, it kind of fitted into what we were doing. So we knew we could add value, especially like the fact in the boxed market, which weirdly so we do limited run, but we actually do retail now as well. So all of our limited run ones are bought by people who've already bought the game.
I mean, it's nice to have a physical copy on the bookshelf, right?
The retail ones, some people will only have the retail version because it is theirs. Because we've gone from a world, so I predate digital. So every game I made as me as a job in professional. So I worked for some big companies. So I was there for the birth of Tomb Raider and all that, right? IDOS Interactive. But every game I worked on would be in a shop, and you go and buy it. There was no digital. So when we started doing Wheels Interactive, everything was digital, you couldn't touch it. So we started doing boxed really for the team to experience having a trophy.
Yeah.
But what's come full circle is actually it's become a thing that people want now. The fact that something you can own the game.
Yeah.
So if Steam goes down,
you're old school in that sense,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
In a positive way.
Yeah. If Steam never existed, which is hard to believe, I know, but if it didn't, you don't own anything. Do you know what I mean? You need that platform to make it run, right?
Yeah.
Whereas obviously if you've got that and the console, the game will always work, like, do you mean?
Yeah.
Whether you install it or not. Like, so it's going back to that shows. But so yeah, Choo Choo Charles, big fan. So Weir is indie publisher but for the box really. So that shows you then collaboration is many things. Even like he's an American dude anyway. So like we don't live nowhere near each other, but it shows you the strength of whatever you think AAA is and what the game industry is. The real strength has been the innovation comes from we call it indies, the smaller companies trying stuff and evolving. Because film wasn't a thing anybody was doing, to be honest. It was just that meeting a really interesting guy that was talking to us about an FM, they call it FMV in games. And just really interesting as games developers. It was the unknown of, I don't really exactly know, but it'd be fun to go on the journey and find out and then by doing one, then doing two, then doing three, then doing four, all of a sudden you start to become, hang on, I actually know, we're defining how to do this, do you mean? It becomes a thing.
Sure.
So that's quite exciting that it's getting more sophisticated, but equally we're always open to we'll collaborate with people if it's their first ever one they've done, or equally it's their fifth or sixth, right? It's not really about just that. It's about finding new areas, making things that open up new audiences, and then that helps shine a light on stuff that maybe is undersold or underseen in our back catalogue. So that is self-perpetuating.
Yes. Okay, we're nearing the end of our conversation, but just one or two more questions. So, in essence, you're open to collaborating more, working more with the Chinese community.
Oh, definitely, yes.
With the influencers, would you be open to working or possibly taking global some of the Chinese interactive movie
so
games?
That's been the dream has been in our journey to collaborate with creative
people, teams, right?
Yeah, from China. One, if it's actually working on a project together, which is something that they want to make, because we're a publisher and an investor.
You already are working.
Yeah. Or the other way around, where there's already got title or titles they've released and they've done well in their market, and they're looking to see how they could be adapted to fit that. So that we're looking for both things really. We're looking to help people maybe who are smaller Chinese developers that don't have a publisher, I suppose, or an Indian Western market. Equally, they could be big companies that are looking for a strategic partner in this area, so we can join forces and do something good together. And then, like I said, the things go both sides. We can assess, like the road to Empress I just saw now. They're very big and grand, and do you know what I mean? Like you said, that character photo is literally it's her road to being an empress. Like, I mean, that's why you're taking this person on a journey too. But they're very big budget things. They look like, you know. Whereas what we've been doing on a smaller budget, although Late Shift is
bigger.
It's a slick. It won't look at a place on Netflix or wherever. We've been innovative with some stories don't need big budgets. This didn't need a big budget because the story was about online dating. So we've been clever at that. So but I would say, yeah, we definitely open for collaboration, and that's one thing. We've been really good at networking and meeting people around the world. Chinese companies, publishers, developers, that's been our weakness, I would say. And maybe because we weren't going to the right events, or I don't really know, but I don't know, because we have meetings. We went to Turkey, the Turkish games film industry. They came to our stand in San Francisco, because we have a Wales stand, to find us, because they were fans of the interactive films, and they invited us to Istanbul and took us around to meet different studios. It was amazing, actually. It was great, and it's different language, but they appreciated the fact that we'd been supporting. But if you've seen the things that we might, at the moment, we're looking to make a film with one of the Turkish film companies there. And it's really about what they want to make, do you mean? Culture is different. So that happened because, first of all, that was them coming to meet us and saying, look, we're fans, would you come and visit us? And then they showed us and then essentially we chatted about, well, we won't want you to try to pitch something to us you thought we would want. That's not what it should be. You should pitch to us something you would want to make, but in interactive, and we can say, yes, only one thing, and say, look, this would work, and then we can work out to navigate. So that's happening in Turkey at the moment. So we'd like the same to happen in China, to be honest. We'd like to meet, even if it was one partner, it doesn't have to be multiple, but somebody sees value in what we're doing, that we can collaborate on this. You know, it is still a very untapped area which a lot of people don't know about. Can you imagine, right? There was a time over 100 years ago, there was no film. And then when film started, it was black and white. You had to go to a communal area to see them projected on a big screen. And there was no sound, so a guy played a piano. And of course, because the film was sped up as well, it was quite comical. So they made comedies, didn't they? Because that was the easiest thing to communicate. You fall over, the guy on the piano live, right? So over 100 years ago, film was about comedy, and that's all it was about. You know, fast forward 100 years, you know that film is so much more now. There's so much content being made because different people, you know, the technology's gone down the way to make something like that now. It's not about big studios, but even when it was like you started making stories for a big audience, and now it's been more sophisticated. Now there's literally things about the nichest, right? So interactive film and video games to a certain extent, but interactive film is you know, it's just been born. And I'd say games now is a little kid now. Games is older, but it's still nowhere near the age that film has been creatively to evolve, right? But gaming is the biggest entertainment industry in the world now. You add all the others together, and you would say now the thing that connects us all is games. I wouldn't say film connects us all anymore, right?
No, it divides us most.
Because online, so games connects us more because from my mother-in-law who's in her 70s, she plays, I don't know if it's Candy Crush, but those colour matching dual games. So she's a gamer, isn't she? She doesn't know she is, but that's how she's entertaining herself with those games, right? So the reality is, now the majority of people will play some sort of interactive thing. right? And don't have to have a PlayStation or an Xbox in some sort of way. So it's quite, it's the way it's gone. It's normal. It's like saying I don't read a book if you said you don't play a game. Do you know what I mean? It's not a normal thing now. But in the film industry, a lot of them were film industry. Will you always use the line to me, and Richard's frustrated. Last game I played was Tetris or something like that. And I say to him, like, it's like saying the last film I watched was Wizard of Oz. It's just a weird. It doesn't make you sound clever. It just makes you sound uneducated, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? If you use it,
arrogant.
Yes, and that's so in the games you won't have that. So so all for more collaboration with China, that's for sure, because it's been very thin on the ground, and we have been trying. It's just like I said, for whatever reason, we just haven't found the right people, or even networked to meet the right people, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I had some preliminary discussions with some of my friends, the TV drama industry, and some of the friends that are working on games, single-player games enhanced with AI native, like AI implementations of the narrative expanding, etc. But whatever. But as far as some of the first interactions that I got, it was like, okay, it became apparent that this is going to be a journey to find the right niche.
Yeah.
In terms of, because okay, I spoke with this guy. Okay, who do you need? There are many companies that specialize in movies, in TV dramas, etc. But as far as that particular like interactive movie, okay, there are a few. But then another person came in. I don't think you should do it. I think you should work with that one. So it is. It is going to be a journey. I would strongly recommend that you go to China and spend some time there. I think that community
definitely
would welcome you.
Oh, I'd love to as well. That's the thing, is I am here for 20 years and I loved it the first time I went. But yeah, so we, as a company, we've done well networking, but not in that part of the world, I would say.
You need someone to introduce you, and then you later on can forge your own network, etc.
It's becoming very obvious that just try sending to some random email addresses doesn't work. Like
WeChat.
Weirdly though, in indie dev it does in the Western world, right?
Yeah.
And if you got the right email so that you're not sounding like a salesperson.
Yeah.
And because we're games developers, we kind of know the level to say it. And I normally start with some Welsh anyway, and they think, what is this?
That's a good trick.
Yeah. Well, it's just like it's like nothing you've ever seen, and then that can be a level, even just to have an email back, like somebody's interested. But yeah, it's something we definitely will take on board. We need to do more of that, I'd say. Feet on the ground, meeting people and showing them that, like I said, that area, because obviously there's a history of companies doing it there. We'd like to connect with that, that's for sure. It's been like, that's been over there and we've been doing our own thing. And like I said, the only way we've reached out is through email. We've never had it, and this is not over 1 week, it's like over years. From Visible Guardian back in 2017 to now.
Wow.
We've been trying to, even using the localization companies to reach out. Because when we were doing the streamer stuff, some stuff, they would tell us what they thought had a chance and what didn't have no chance. That's when we started learning that horror's not going to be a big driver there. It wouldn't change what we make, but it wouldn't stop. Like I said, we didn't want to make a rom-com. It was just the collaboration steered us that way.
Yes.
So we liked the person, we went on a journey with it, and we could control it. We could teach them how to tell a good story. Didn't tell them what story to tell in a games way, like I'd say, because he was a linear writer. So as game designers, we are really expert at telling people non-linear stories. Do you know what I mean? That's what we're always looking for them, for new writers, directors, production companies, whichever creative companies that have a vision for making something interactive. And if it's interactive, it shouldn't. Even though Netflix now have a game, they've changed their idea. They started with Bandersnatch.
I love that.
Yeah, we went over. They invited us over in 2019. See, because we had we were like on to chat to us, but they. Our discussion was, it's the wrong platform for anything that's interactive. Should be on a gaming platform.
Oh
right?
yeah.
So it's really on the loads and loads of films and and then a couple of interactive things. It's the weird, you go to Steam, you know what you're going to get. Lots of games, interactive things.
Yeah.
Visual novels all the way through to, so you kind of know why you go to that shop for. So it meant that they never had enough for it to be a thing. And then they made some for kids, and then, you know, it
was a novelty, and then
yeah, it was the novelty thing rather than thinking you need a lot of content, as top of the analogy of film what it was 100 years ago, to make it a thing. But there'll be a time any platform starts with a handful of titles. They have to be good, but you still have to throw more wood on the fire. It's the best. Do you know what I mean? And then it becomes a thing. So at the moment, interactive film and FMV, whatever terminology you use, falls between the two industries, the grey area. And we've just seen value in it, and we've dragged it into our area. So we are a games company, not a film company, working with them to make the films better, film people to make the production side better. But then structurally, the game designs, they're not underneath. If there was no film, if there was no video asset, you could still play them as an interactive book. It could be illustrated. It could have no. It could be a story about a blind person and there's no visual. Do you know what I mean? Indie games developer can use. Doesn't need money to make the vision. You change the idea that you make to suit your circumstances, and we've done really well, which is why we've got such a diverse range of things that are bigger and glossy. Some things which are smaller but have been like nominated for BAFTA. That's one BAFTA. Nominated for BAFTAs that you wouldn't ever think, and of course then that continues.
Awesome.
We covered everything, didn't we?
I think we did.
Yeah.
Thank you for the conversation today, and looking forward to meeting you in China soon.
Yeah, fantastic. Hey, diolch yn fawr. Thank you very much. And yeah, hopefully, yeah, I'll be walking around Beijing again, not too in the too distant future, or maybe Shanghai for China Joy.
Yeah. Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you. All right. I think it was
That was good. Yeah.